All right, good afternoon, folks. You guys can hear me? Cool. If someone could check the YouTube, this is the first time I've used this computer in 6 months, and automatically things were not working right. It's weird how if you just turn the computer off for a while, everything's different. But if someone could check on that, I would appreciate it. Great. Great. All right, I'm an associate member of T3 Trading Group, which is an SEC registered broker dealer and member of FINRA SIPC. All of my trades are placed through T3 Trading Group. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your own financial condition. Thanks, Tate, Vincent, and Mike for checking on that for me. Position disclosure. I got a little Tesla short. I got some SLUN short. I got some TQQ short. Oh boy. Things are getting crazy. Things are getting crazy. How did we close? SPYs are up 0.34% because they're never up or down more than 0.5%. Qs are up 1.4%, and they're really extending higher at this point. The IWM is up 0.6%, so we finally have a green candle there in our IWM chart. The RSP still managed to close negative, however, down 0.3%, and the Dow closed down 3%. So still not great breath if this RSP is closing negative with the SPY up 0.3%. So not a lot of leadership out there. But like I said, the IWM at least was able to give a little bit of a bounce. So SPYs, I don't even know why I look at the chart of the SPYs anymore, to be honest, because this is not where the action ever seems to be. But SPYs gapped up. They did make one new opening break of that opening low at a certain point today, which probably made being long this a little bit tricky. Strong all day, and then rolled over a little bit into the close. I was looking for a rollover in the close today. It came in the SPYs. I was looking for it in the Qs more because this is where the big extension is, and the QQQ rollover was barely anything. The Qs are so strong here. Gap up, going sideways for 20 minutes. ADMA catches up to the low of the day, not even fully up to price action, just the low of the day, and then we kind of continue here. Just a lot of impressive strength from the Qs. We'll circle back to the daily chart in a second. IWM a little bit sloppy. So let's look at these daily charts. So IWM, just because I have it up, got a little bit of relief, I think, from the TLT not having another red day today. This TLT's got some downside extension, so a little bit of relief there. The dollar was also red today, so a little bit of relief. And the IWM managed to give us a green candle. This Russell has kind of just been bleeding out. It hasn't been like a heavy sell-off or anything like that, but it's just been consistently relatively weak as the Qs continue higher, and we've started to see very bad breath coming into this market over the course of the last couple of weeks. Just not a lot of participation. Again, even today, RSP red, another down day for this RSP, and SPY is green. The SPYs continue to look just fine. Very tight day. We just looked at the 5-minute chart. It seems like it's always a tight day for the SPYs, but they're still holding above key levels. They're holding above the 602 pivot. They're holding above 600, which is a real line in the sand for me right now. SPYs continue to look great, but all that strength is coming from very select stocks in the NASDAQ. We've seen this story before. The Qs really hit extreme extension today. The ADMA is at 527.40. That'll be a little bit higher tomorrow. But the Qs closed around 538. They were higher than that at a certain point. So we hit that $11.50 worth of extension in the Qs today. And there's a lot of strength here. But it finally hit the point where I started to short small in the Qs, short small with the plan to build up just off the extension, which has been pretty consistent trade. In the TQQ here, I want to see if I can get a move back to like 90. The TQQ is actually what I'm short, not the QQQ itself. I want to see if I can get a move back to like 90 off this extension. The ADMA is all the way down at 88. So again, for the most part, these shorts that I'm putting on, even if I take aggressive size, which I don't have aggressive size right now in the Qs, I am not being aggressive with price targets. And for the most part, that's managed to work out really well with some of these names. But like I'm saying, the Q's continuing higher here with just not a lot of individual stocks moving higher. I mean, even the semiconductors in NVIDIA failed to perform today. NVIDIA is down 1.75%, but it's like it's this dispersion trade when the spies aren't doing anything. You know, if the spies are going to be up 0.3%, then Nvidia is going to be down 1.75%, and the RSP is also going to be negative. It means that you need to have Apple, Amazon, Tesla, you know, these select few other mega cap stocks continue to rip higher, and Tesla certainly did. Tesla finished up 7% on the day today, and it's really starting to extend. I mean, some of these things are starting to look a little bit silly to me. Tesla here at, you know, continuing higher, another $3-4 after hours to get to 467. So I did say in the morning meeting, and I tried my best to listen to my own advice, that I thought that like a name like Tesla and SOUN, which I traded to the short side today, I kind of thought that these names needed one more day up, like one more day up, and then ideally if we get a gap up tomorrow, that's been more of that trade that's been a consistent home run on that extreme extension. It's hard sometimes not to jump in too early. You know, when you see SOUN at 18 or 19 with the ADMA at $15, and it's in the midst of that day two, it's hard not to jump in too early on these things, and I definitely do. I definitely jump in too early on them sometimes. Where I tend to do a pretty good job with it is just on position sizing. Like my SOUN, I never really got too big on this thing today, and even at the end of the day, I'm down small in this SOUN, like not a big deal at all, considering that I started shorting it at like 1750 or so, and it closed at 20. I'm like barely down anything considering that. So, you know, it's just about sizing on these things. But if I can get the gap up tomorrow, then maybe we get that day 3 gap up that's been that consistent trade, whether it was MSTR or Palantir or whatever, when the extension starts getting silly and you get that big gap up after 2 huge days in a row. That's been a trade for us where it's like, all right, let's come in on some size. So we'll see if that happens. And then Tesla's the other one it's starting to get silly. But I said in the morning meeting, it looks like this could use another day. It's like, on the one hand, today is day 8. On the other hand, it's day 2 because, you know, technically this very small red day here, even though we didn't get down to the ADMA on the daily, kind of resets your count. But, you know, we're trading right now at 466.50 after hours, up a few bucks after hours. The ADMA at just under 417, and the 21 at 475. So we've got $50 of upside extension off the ADMA, and I'm trying to think, like, how extended do we get on this immediate post-election run? Obviously, it's a much more expensive stock, but just eyeballing the dollar amounts here, we got to a high of 458 that day, with the ADMA at like 494, 495. So we were able to get at highs like $67 extended from the ADMA. Right now we're 50. It's a more expensive stock now, so it's less on a percentage basis. The flip side is, you would think some degree of the post-Donald Trump trade is over for Tesla at this point. But this is where that money is really, really flowing into. But this is another one now where it's like, if the gap up can happen tomorrow, that's where we want to focus. And I was trying very hard, because it's hard sometimes, like you want to short it. I was trying very hard to keep my sizing appropriate, and I did for most of the day. It wasn't really till we got into these upper 450s, 460 that I started to size up a little bit. And then I thought if the Qs would roll over, that Tesla would roll over with it, like into the close. And I got a little bit of that QQQ pullback that I was looking for, and this Tesla just had a buy imbalance. It wasn't huge, but had a buy imbalance, closed on highs, and it's, you know, again, continuing to trade up a few dollars here after hours. But these are definitely candidates tomorrow. If you can get the gap up tomorrow for SOUN, if you can get the gap up tomorrow for Tesla. There's some other things that I thought about shorting at certain points during the day, but I had myself hold off because they were almost kind of day ones. But this QUBT, I know tomorrow would only be a day 2, but today was so big that if it somehow could gap above today's high tomorrow, like that could be on the list. Or RGTI, I know rolled down $1 off of highs, but same thing with this thing. And with this, it kind of would be a little bit of a day 3 also if we got that gap up. But it seems like some things are starting to get a little bit silly here again with some of these crazy meme stocks with the Qs themselves to some degree, with Tesla. If you look at like an Apple, which was strong today, and we actually had Apple on a potential buy list today for 459. I don't know if anybody caught it. At least the Apple here, it consolidated for 4 days. The ADMA caught up. It's a bull flag. Sure, there's a lot of extension here to the 21, which has me nervous. There's extension in the Qs themselves, which has me nervous to kind of chase new longs right now in any NASDAQ-related stocks. But at least this makes sense, 4 days of sideways price action, bull flag, breakout, getting some continuation on it. Amazon was also on the list today. Very similar pattern. Bull flag here for 4 days, resistance at 430, breaks out, gives continuation. Like, these names make a little bit more sense to me than like what Tesla's starting to do at this point, which is just go vertically up. It's hitting that point where it probably cannot continue to do this. So let's wait and see for tomorrow morning. Let's wait and see how these things gap tomorrow morning. If the Qs gap up tomorrow, I think it's a short. If Tesla gaps up tomorrow, I think it's a short. If SLUN gaps up tomorrow, I think it's a short. Everything's going to just be extremely extended. So we'll see if the market wants to hand us another situation like that, which has just been really profitable for us over the course of the last couple months. Or we'll see if the market makes things a bit trickier by, gapping stuff down and not really letting people in. But it seems like it's starting to hit that point. And I think that's pretty much all I got for today. Palantir was a focus intraday for me because it is pretty much every day. Can't get it closed in this Palantir below that ADMA on the daily. Can't seem to get it. This is the second trading session now where we're able to trade below, but could not close below. I want to see a close below the ADMA on the daily in this Palantir to give me a character change. But for the moment, even though we had a couple tails, this grindy uptrend continues to hold. This ADMA continues to hold. It's really impressive. We had a great short at highs today in this extension, albeit a little bit scary, immediately after the NASDAQ addition. And then they sold that really hard. So then it's like, all right, I'm justified. It was a buy the rumor, sell the news. And then they turned this thing around really well into the close. So it closed, flat-ish, maybe down really small on the day for Palantir, which, I mean, this was a crazy move here from almost $78 to almost $71 over the course of like an hour or so. Maybe a little bit, maybe 45 minutes. Really crazy move. But things were looking good for Palantir shorts for a minute, and then we closed in a way where it's a little bit more undecisive. And they're still ripping up some of these meme type stocks. Still, you're seeing it with Tesla, you're seeing it with these quantum names, you're seeing it with SLUN, and to some degree Palantir is still holding in alongside of all that. And all of our market technicals and seasonality and stuff are still bullish. Don't get me wrong. I still have 18 longs on or whatever, coupled with now 4 shorts. But I'm not chasing stock on a lot of this stuff up here. I don't care if they continue higher. I don't chase stock, so I'm just not doing it here. Delta Force 2 is? Or is there a new one? Tate, please. Yeah, I don't know. Probably not going to come out of retirement. It'd be fun. That's all I got. Happy to answer any questions from anything that you guys may have. Not seeing anything in the VTF yet. In YouTube from Apex Joy, it looks like Tesla is having a gamma squeeze going on with OPEX this week. Do you think it could get squeezed further in the next 2 to 3 days? Could it get squeezed further? Of course it can. Stock can remain irrational for longer than you can remain solvent. Like I was just saying with this Tesla, I would not buy this up here. There's just too much extension. I don't care if it goes to 700, 500. I don't like chasing here. The extension's getting crazy. I think if you get a gap up tomorrow, it's something you want to short. And then we'll see how it closes. What else? What else you guys got for me? From Rex, I took AI this morning through 40. Okay. AI had relative strength the last couple days. Yeah, the daily chart looks pretty good. Daily chart's unextended. August 21st, the 821 EMA on the 5 and 15 was just right under the opening price. Yes, the daily chart looks great. What's that daily level again? Is it 40? Yeah, daily chart level is 40. It's going to be a story about how you bought it in the first 5 minutes and got shaken out. With the market being bullish, I thought AI through 40 was an A setup with a stop under the opening low. Yeah, I like it. Check you out at 940. Is that when the market gave its little pullback? Yeah, that's when the market was pulling back on a little bit of some of its extension. Not really the Qs, but the SPYs were. The IWM actually opened flat to negative, so it did not give that pullback. Check you out at the 940 candle. Yeah. So you thought it was done, you took a loss. Yeah, I mean, that all makes sense to me. I like it. You know, the only thing I think you're missing is a little bit of the volume confirmation, which is hard to tell if you bought it in the first 5 minute candle. If you bought it in the second 5 minute candle, you know, you probably would want to see a little bit higher volume there. But I like your trade. Yeah, no, I like your trade. I think you gave it the right amount of room. You tried to buy an opening breakout through an important daily level and a relatively strong stock through the level that has no extension. I like the trade. I like the stop. I think you traded it right. So I don't have any other feedback beyond that. I would just keep doing what you're doing. Anything else, guys? No? Quick one today. ASML for Varun. ASML looks good. Looks better than a lot of other stuff in this space right now. Trying to break out again. Getting above this like 425, 725 zone. You really want to see it get above 729 to clear out this negative Maribozu, but you got nothing really to the left after that. I think it looks good. Could Friday to today be the IWM pivot that we're looking for into the end of the year? It could be. Could be. So this thing has some proving to do, though. It's got to get back above 237.50, and then don't forget this 240.50 is a huge level. But let's start by getting this thing back above 237.50. Like these moving averages are just crossing. It's below that. It's a little bit tricky, but we'll see. I would love for some rotation out of the Qs a little bit into everything else right now, because the market, you know, there's been some fun opportunities with some of these crazy stocks that have been going nuts, but from like a market-wide perspective, I haven't loved this price action this last week or so when, you know, 30% of stocks are up and the Qs are extending higher and the SPYs are closing small green. No, same thought process for on the Chinese stocks. Apex Joy is asking me about MDB. Yeah, it's a bit extended to the downside. It kind of rested on that a little bit today, though. And UNH. Yeah, UNH is getting crazy. What did like NUE end up doing today? Yeah, not much of a bounce on that. It stabilized a little bit. STLD, same thing. A lot of these names are very similar there, and it's interesting to see this UNH is just getting pulverized. All right. Well, we will wrap things up there with the usual. Have a great night, everybody. See you all tomorrow.